Hi, my name is Patrice and welcome to the Golden Helix Guild YouTube channel. Today we have with us Iwona Leger. She is a nurse and she used to work in emergency room.
Yeah.
And discovered the vital importance that nutrition plays. And she has dedicated her studies and her efforts since then into nutrition. Now, I took a nutrition class from her and I feel great. I feel wonderful and, not more importantly, but nice to hear, a lot of positive feedback that I look so much better, I'm glowing. And so I asked Iwona if she would join us for a series of videos. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Could you tell us more of your background, since I just know as a nurse in ER?
Yeah, my background is in nursing, basically. I graduated from nursing school in 2000 and have worked as a nurse for 10 years or 11 years and struggled with my own health issues. Had some own health challenges, and a few of my family members had some health issues. And once I discovered how important nutrition is in helping and preventing some of these and releasing some of the symptoms, and healed myself, and a couple of my family members got much healthier as well, I figured that I would probably be better off learning a little bit more about nutrition, because I realized I didn't know much from nursing school about that. So I started studying nutrition on my own and ended up taking a nutrition course and became a health coach at the end of my studies, and have been studying nutrition ever since. I'm always reading something, watching something, learning new stuff, and now I'm using nutrition mostly as medicine for a lot of patients and using that.
I know a lot of us have heard the doctors say, watch what you eat. Okay, I'm watching that cake go into my mouth.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't know what eating well means.
Yeah.
So I am so pleased that you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, what I find a lot from students that take my classes is they come and a lot of them say, I already know a lot about nutrition, I just need you to teach me how to apply it. And then I teach them about nutrition as I now finally understand it. And then a lot of my students say, wow, I thought I knew a lot, but now I finally get it. Now I get what true nutrition and true healthy eating actually means. So it's always a blast for me when people come to me and say, I thought I was so educated and I thought I was so well versed in a lot of things, and I never knew about that. It makes me smile every single time to know. Yeah.
I think I was one of those people.
Yeah, I think so. I think you definitely were. Yeah. Yeah. So
tell us a little bit more about your personal journey, how you got there.
Okay, so my personal journey, here I am working as a registered nurse in mostly emergency rooms. I did some other on the side work with group homes and kids from DCF, but mostly emergency rooms. So I found myself basically always busy, always running around, usually acute care patients, car accidents, broken bones. But every now and then we would have patients that would come in for primary care because they didn't have insurance, they didn't have a doctor, so they would show up for prescriptions for high blood pressure, for sinus infections, for constipation, for things like that. And we were always discharging patients with prescription to treat the symptoms. And in the emergency room, we hardly ever had time to really explore. We would rule out the worst case scenario, we would do CAT scans and make sure there's no tumor there, but then after that it was a prescription for a symptom. And my own personal issue, I had a lot of infections, upper respiratory infections, pneumonias and bronchitis, and a lot of coughing, strep throat, ear infections. It wasn't until I understood nutrition that all of these symptoms went away. And I was on antibiotics probably twice or three times a year since I was a child, all the way through until I discovered nutrition, until about 3 years ago. And I haven't taken antibiotics since, because I finally learned what foods were causing more mucus buildup and more, my immune system was getting weaker and weaker and more suppressed. once I realized which foods I could eliminate and which foods I could add to my diet and how to eat properly, haven't taken antibiotics at all. My dad had some issues with his prostate. We put him on a different food regimen as well. His prostate is perfectly fine. He was scheduled for surgery. He's still perfectly fine. My mom had issues with arthritis. She was having a lot of joint aches and pains and couldn't really function. She was taking a lot of pain medication for the symptoms. Once she changed her diet and reversed her inflammation, and all these symptoms went away as well. So it was because of that journey that I got so inspired to do what I do now.
So I took your nutrition class, and I'm going to be taking your detox class, and I know you had cooking, but I've been traveling too much to join with that one. I also believe I saw meditation can turn off the genes that cause the inflammation. So I don't think you teach meditation, but you can add that, those different stress relievers.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways we could look into the body. We could look in healing the body through, like you said, through meditation, through prayer for a lot of people. My niche is nutrition, and that is definitely a great addition to anybody who already is using all these other modalities. And if they're not using anything else, nutrition would be at least maybe a first step for them. And
well, like you said, I think it's bigger than a first step.
I mean, it could be a first step, and then once people start feeling better and looking better, and you just said that people tell you you're glowing and you are eating healthier, you're feeling better, and then it inspires people to do more of that. So then they continue, and then they realize it's not just inflammation, it's a lot of other issues. Blood pressure might drop down, cholesterol might calm down, people lose weight without even trying. So there's a lot of great benefits to it as well, in addition to just inflammation.
Yeah, for myself, my doctor was suggesting that I become gluten-free vegan that did not eat, and then the list was so long.
Yeah.
And most of those things I did not eat anyway.
Yeah.
I was fairly pristine in what I ate, and yet I had a lot of issues, and it was more not taking things away, but what to add for me. It was what to add. And a couple things have taken away that would be fine for some other people, perhaps.
Yeah. That's how I start my classes usually. I start my classes not so much with telling people what they shouldn't eat or how they should make the smaller portions of the foods they eat, but I introduce them to new foods. And the way I explain it in my classes, I don't know if you remember that from the class, I talk about toxic relationships. When you have toxic friends in your life, and then one day you just decide, and everybody knows these friends. These are the friends that drain your energy, that exhaust you, that you hang out with them and then you leave and you're like, oh my God, it was so much work to have a conversation. So when you have friends like this and one day you decide you just don't want to hang out with them anymore because they are too draining, and you just say to them, don't bother me anymore, don't call me, don't email me, I'm done with you. But then you sit at home by yourself and you're like, I'm kind of lonely and I'm sad and I don't have anybody else to hang out with. And as soon as one friend calls you or emails you, says, hey, we're going out for a party, come join us, you are very likely to go back. But when you understand this and you say, okay, I need to meet some new friends before I break up with these guys. So I have someplace else to go and some other friends to hang out with. Then all of a sudden you meet another friend and you meet another friend, and then when you break up with these guys, you're not drawn to them because you have somebody else to hang out with. And it's the same thing with food. When we try to stay away from the unhealthy, toxic foods, but haven't met other foods yet, our new friends, then it's hard. But once you meet new foods that you could eat instead, and new foods that you could make delicious meals with, then it's so much easier. So I start with introducing the new friends first. So I bring in a blender and I will make green smoothie, and I talk about green leafy vegetables and unprocessed foods and whole foods, and we talk about a lot of fruits and vegetables, and I show my students how to make really good smoothies and salads and other things. So then once they start doing this, they no longer miss these toxic friends. So it's all about introducing new friends before you ditch the old ones. Eventually the old ones fall away one at a time because you don't crave them anymore. You don't want to hang out with these toxic foods.
And even for those who want to have meats and some of the other foods, you give healthy, not alternatives, sources.
Yeah, because it's not about eliminating anything from the diet. I really don't believe that. As soon as I tell somebody you can't have that anymore, they want it more. They want it more and they want it every day. It's not about white knuckling yourself through another diet approach. This is all about learning and educating yourself about foods and how they are made now. The foods that we used to have 50, 60 years ago are not the same foods that we have right now. And unfortunately, a lot of studies are using the numbers from 50 years ago and saying, well, this food is so healthy because there's omega-3, for example. But the quality of it is very different now than it used to be. So, so it's not about eliminating anything from the diet. It's about learning about what it is and then deciding, do you want it anymore? Or maybe you don't want it anymore, and finding your own flow with it, finding your own balance. And that's where people are very successful.
Now you know why I wanted to bring her here to have this series for you. I have looked at a lot of different, diets, not weight loss diets, but diets for inflammation or diets for one thing or another to help people. And her approach is, we're not taking things away, we're not counting these calories, we're not trying to make something artificial. I know the foods that she makes are absolutely delicious, and I look forward to her telling us more. So what kind of things can we look forward to, and what are some, I want you to tell them about some of the petroleum and the, what was it, flame retardant preservatives.
Alright, so let's talk about a little did you know trivia.
There we go.
Let's do that little did you know. So did you know that when you, some of the synthetic, actually all of the synthetic, artificial synthetic food colorings are made from petroleum. So when you look at the nutrition label on the ingredients list on the packet and you see anything with a color and a number next to it, so red 40, blue 1, yellow 6, orange something, there's always a color and a number. These are, that's how you know for sure that these are made from petroleum. When you take a bag of Cheetos and you're laughing because
I know.
I've talked about it in class. A bag of Cheetos most likely will have a yellow 6 coloring on in the nutrition label. So when you put it in a little metal tray and you light it on fire, don't be surprised if it burns for about 45 minutes. My sister has done this experiment with a student in her school, and it burned for 45 minutes. And what was left in the tray at the end was a gooey black crude oil looking substance that nobody would touch. Why did it burn for 45 minutes? Because it's made from petroleum, because it's made from oil, and oil burns.
So if there's a gas crisis next time out,
We should stuff. That's exactly it. Whenever we have power failure, have a big thing of Cheetos. So there you go. And then the other thing, which is kind of almost the opposite, is an ingredient that is used in a lot of sports drinks, and especially citrus sports drinks. It's called brominated vegetable oil. And they add this, I think, to stabilize the color, maybe, in the drink, because they usually add some other artificial color to it, but then they add the brominated vegetable oil on top of it to stabilize the color. When I looked up brominated vegetable oil, trying to figure out what it is really, it's a flame retardant. It's the main ingredient in it. Bromine is a flame retardant. So I was just confused, like, why are we putting flame retardant in our food and petroleum? Let's combine it, let's put flame retardant on the Cheetos. That would be a better solution, don't you think? So they won't burn at least, right? Like, it just puzzles me. And for myself, I no longer crave Cheetos. And I used to eat Cheetos, and now I just don't want it anymore.
Knowing
I just
that, I
don't want
could
it.
look at Cheetos again.
Yeah. And I hear this all the time from people that take my classes. And there's a lot of things about food that we eat that we don't realize what's actually in it.
And I know from my my academic background that a lot of people think, oh, we will eat it and it'll just pass through and it's just not going to do anything. But the body does pick it up, but it doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it just goes into the cells and it
Yeah.
just stays there
Yeah.
as an irritant.
Yeah. I just recently wrote a blog, and I borrowed the phrase from Dr. Michael Klopper when he says, that we often try to sneak in food, nobody's looking, so we eat somewhere in a cupboard and we eat some cookies and hide the wrappers or whatever it may be. I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna burn the calories off so nobody's gonna notice. And Dr. Michael Klopper says, your body is never not looking. Your body is never not looking. So you think you are getting away with it. You think you are hiding and nobody, your husband won't know, your wife won't know, your children won't notice. You go to the gym, you exercise it, and nobody will know. Your body will know. Your body is never not looking.
Now this has been a theme in your work because it's not, we're not looking at calories.
Yeah.
And we're not just looking at, this box of cereal says I have all these different vitamins. It's a matter of how it got in there, how your body uses it, how it is going to help you or hurt you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And a lot of times, all these chemicals and toxins that are not food, they're added to our food, end up being trapped in our body in fat cells. And the body is trying to dilute them, and the body is trying to take these toxins away as far as it can from the vital organs. Our body is so magnificent, and it knows to protect the heart and the lungs and the kidneys. So it takes these toxins that it doesn't know what to do with and puts them in fat cells. So then when you go on a diet and you restrict your calories or you exercise a lot and you try to burn off that fat and the toxins are still there, then the body is going to hold on to extra every single morsel of food that you eat because it's going to try to dilute again and protect your body from your organs from those toxins. So that's where detox class comes in, and that will open your eyes to understanding that part as well, of how to safely now not only stop eating the foods that are toxic, but also slowly start detoxing the toxins that we already have in our body and how to release them safely.
I remember, I think you were talking to someone about if you've tried to lose weight but can't seem to lose weight or something, it may be because of that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And people would be weighing every single ounce of food that they eat and counting points and counting calories and obsessing with all of that. And exercise is wonderful. We need to exercise, but when people use exercise for weight loss or maintaining weight, they're kind of missing the ball. Exercise should be for health, for cardiovascular health, for muscle strength, for bone building. That's what we should exercise for, not for weight loss. When it comes to weight loss, about 80% of weight loss equation is diet and nutrition. So, and obviously eating the right kind of foods and eating as natural, as unprocessed as possible. Yeah.
I look forward to this. I am so glad you agreed to do this.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to doing more Did You Know and expanding a little bit more. Maybe when we do the serious classes here, then maybe we could do that, just pick a topic and just discuss it and talk about it in more detail.
I like that.
Yeah.
But, so if someone wants to find out more about you, where can they find you on the internet?
Well, I'm on loveandpeashealth.com, and that's peas like green peas that we eat. So again, it's www.loveandpeashealth.com. Will you be able to post my website on your YouTube channel? Okay, so you can find it below, I guess. People say, website is below. Okay, so that's where it will be.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And thank you for joining us.